Hi, and welcome to episode one of Bearded Politics. Um, you know, Here recently, there's been a lot of news surrounding like what's to come. Um, some frightening things, to be honest with you. I feel like they're gearing up for what's happening in November. I would say that the likely scenario that President Trump is going to win the election, and you know, if you guys remember in 2020 there was some shenanigans, right? And I don't think you can specifically say what those shenanigans were in fear of being canceled by, whatever platform you're going to be on. Um, but I thought I'd bring up a couple things that I have noticed, specifically here lately, as 2024 has approached us and we're gearing up for the election. There has been some disturbing rumors, and I would say it's maybe a little bit more than rumors now of the new COVID, the disease X. Um, and if you are not aware of what disease X is, it is the new COVID virus. It's a different beast entirely. But I had seen a couple things about it, about like how hospitals in Miami were filling up with people who had strange symptoms like swollen legs, fluid in their lungs, and then something to do with the heart. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but it is said to be 20 times deadlier than the COVID virus, which to me sounds pretty crazy. Now, I should probably say that I am one of the last remaining people that did not get the jab. It just was not for me. And in my day job, during that time, it was pretty scary because they were gonna say you can't work here anymore unless you got it, and you know, to threaten somebody's livelihood is kind of disturbing. And I'm wondering, you know, as this new disease X kind of gains traction, are they going to try the same tactics that they had tried before? And I'm using they ambiguously, the people who are actually in charge, not the 83-year-old man that is the figurehead of the United States, but the people that are pulling the strings behind him. And I feel like if you've made it this far in my video, then you would either agree or you're just curious of what I mean. Um, you know, I think that it is far more likely that we can all agree that our sitting president will not make it to the next round when it comes to November. I don't know what the game plan is going to be. I think that for them to have him run again would be very uh, a mistake, to say the least. And then to have Kamala run, she's very unlikable, and I would think that even her party can kind of agree that they don't really care for her. So I'm very interested in what their game plan is going to be. But anyways, I got a little sidetracked. The main idea of this video today was to go over what disease X is, and kind of what their game plan is. Okay, so here we have this. Uh, this one is from Axios.com, and it's going over disease X. Now, I'm not sure what their spin on it is, but it had a couple of things that I thought would be relevant to talk about. So, what is disease X? The World Health Organization first coined the term disease X in 2018. And it's just more for preparation for disease X. It's just kind of the placeholder. According to the WHO, the term represents the knowledge that a serious international epidemic could be caused by a pathogen currently unknown to cause human disease. It was pretty ambiguous. You know. Anyways, in 2022, WHO convened over 300 scientists to look into 25 virus families and bacteria, created a list of priority pathogens that should be further researched. The list included disease X to indicate an unknown pathogen that could cause a serious international epidemic. Um, Disease X is the placeholder, and noting that COVID-19 could be even considered the first disease X. Uh, and this gentleman that was speaking this quote here said it may happen again. How will it emerge? While it's ultimately unknown where disease X will come from or when it will emerge, some experts have theories. Disease X is likely to be a respiratory virus, this person said, and they're a senior scholar at Johns Hopkins. The virus could already be in circulation among animals and has not yet transferred to humans. That could be bats, like oh, come on, we're saying bats. No, it was a lab leak, so let's just skip past that part. Um, Preparation, preparing for disease X require a renewed commitment to strengthening primary health care. Um, that all sounds great. What I think is more likely is that they're going to try and shut us down again, wear the mask thing. But I find it pretty interesting because Fauci himself was said that they just kind of came up with the 6 foot rule, and the efficacy of this shot was not what was communicated. They if you look at them now, a lot of people that were in that sphere of the jab and telling people that you had to get it, you're killing people if you didn't get it. Now they're like, well, nobody was made to get it. Like, we didn't make anybody get it. It was all a choice, because as we had found out that not only was it, like, because it was first described as like, hey, if you get the shot, you're not going to get COVID. And then it was described of, hey, if you get it, you're just far more likely to not spread it. And then it was like, well, you're going to get it and spread it, but it's just going to be a little bit, less severe. Still a good idea to get your 17th booster. But it's just kind of funny how it is developed now. And I'm thinking that they're going to be gearing up for what is to come, in preparation for the election. Because, I feel like even an average Joe like me can look at the writing on the wall and be like, this only happens on election year. What happened to the other 3 years in between, 2020 and now? We got through the pandemic, and now everything's all hunky-dory until the next thing comes out. And when do you think the next thing is going to come out? Probably later this year. I'm just guessing at this point, but I think it is very likely, especially as you see more and more talks about this disease X. Like, why are we preparing for the next one if it's not already written in what's to come? Like, I don't know, it just seems a little crazy to me. Anyways, so this is just going on about more spending for healthcare and stuff like that, like some very generic stuff. I think that's not a bad idea, but I've got a couple other things that I want to look at, and let's see what y'all think about it. Okay, so let's look at this other virus. So this is from September of 2023. So this isn't. In the grand scheme of things, it is recent, but it's not like yesterday. But until recently, I have not even heard of this or any of this that was going on. And since we were talking about disease X, I thought maybe it'd be a good idea to talk about some things that could be considered that, or like what the next thing that is going to come to the United States and cause the next pandemic, or for us to be scared again whenever they tell us to be scared. But anyways, this article is from Nature World News. It says a Nipah virus outbreak has spread across India and several other Asian countries as the total death toll has reached more than 100 amid nearly 300 cases, which doesn't sound like large-scale numbers as what we're used to, but it has to start somewhere, right? It has to start for a certain amount, and then it's going to exponentially grow, and it might not be the Nipah virus that is going to be disease X, but like the whole preparation, like the WHO and all these sources are like preparing for the next one because they just all know that whoever is controlling stuff behind the scenes is going to ensure that something's gonna happen. You have this organization that wants to control the population. You know, the well, I don't want to put the tinfoil hat on, but we'll just go through this article and then maybe we can kind of draw some conclusions together. Um, in India's Kerala state, some schools and offices were forced to close. Local authorities were imposing restrictions to mitigate the stop the spread and deadly pathogen. While there have been related outbreaks in previous years, the current one centers in the southern state of Kerala, wherein 6 people are infected with the bat-borne Nipah virus. Man, bats keep coming up. I don't know the correlation between viruses and bats, but like some people wanted to blame COVID for that, even though they definitely came from a lab leak. And this Nipah virus looks like it's coming from a bat as well. 2 of these people have already died since the pathogen emerged in late August. Aside from India, there have been reports of Nipah virus outbreaks in its neighboring country of Bangladesh, as well as nations further southeast in Asia, like Malaysia and Singapore. Prior to the ongoing outbreak, health experts have called for a hasty development of a vaccine against the Nipah virus. Um, and this is just going to go into what it is. It is a pathogen on a zoonotic type of virus transmission that infects humans and other animals. Zoonotic transmissions mean that a pathogen can spread between animals and people. Okay. Since its first discovery in 1999, when related outbreaks reported in pigs and people in Malaysia and Singapore, the Nipah virus has been designated by health authorities as a disease with a high mortality rate. Um, According to the CDC, fruit bats are the natural animal host of the Nipah virus, but can also cause illness in pigs and humans. Um, let's see what it says as far as it being curable. What makes a Nipah virus deadly, aside from the life-threatening symptoms, is there is no known cure or vaccine for both infected humans and animals. Yet the CDC says that Nipah virus can be prevented by avoiding sick bats and pigs in areas exposed to the virus. I mean, I feel like that's kind of a given. Stay away from bats. um, but this is just an example of something that can be the next disease X. And listen, I'm not the person that is scared to go out of their house. I did not really wear a mask when it was that time. Um, I would rather just live my life like normally, and not be scared because the government tells me to be scared and lock down in my home and wear 3 masks. And as it turns out, as time has passed, I hope that the people that did live that life look back on it and were like, I can't believe I did that, and not fall for it again. You know, Basically, there's always going to be some type of disease or virus or something that's going to kill a lot of people. It is bound to happen, but that's life, and that's not going to change. I think the timing of it is something that should really be looked at because, I mean, maybe I haven't been paying attention, but these talks of disease X didn't pop up until late 2023, early 2024. And, well, that coincides with the election year. Election years are always crazy. Something always pops off, always some type of bombshell, but you have Donald Trump who's running, who is the clear front runner again. He's taking a crack at it again. And what's wild is the most popular voted president ever in history, Joe Biden, is looking so bad right now. I mean, people don't like him. People don't like the economy. People don't like his vice president. People don't like his policies. Shoveling money into foreign aid, and another war that's going to pop off at any moment with Iran. That's not in America's interest. I think what people liked about Donald Trump so much was that he was America first, and that's very relatable. I mean, like being an American citizen, he pointed at things that affected American life. You know, as he said, he was one of the last few presidents that didn't have a war going on during his term. You know, but it's he was portrayed as this hate monger and fascist and Nazi, and he didn't even have a war. They talked about him being in collusion with Russia for so long, and that turns out that wasn't real. I mean, you got to be really careful on who's telling you this information. I mean, I feel like if you're watching this channel and you've made it this far in this video, you already are watching the right type of news. Honestly, I think independent media is the right type of news because I can't really watch Fox News anymore. My boy Tucker's not on there. And I have never really watched any of the other ones, only for information, like for like a video idea that I'm gonna come up with. Maybe I could watch CNN for 10 minutes or so. But we got to be really careful because all this talk of disinformation and I mean that's the word, disinformation, misinformation, whatever it is. You know, do your own research. Look at your own information and you find your own truth, right? It's hard nowadays to know like who is trying to shoot you straight because I feel like there's always a political agenda, right? But the point of this video is to just kind of point out that, whatever is next, it's coming. Be prepared for it. Don't be surprised by it. If you wake up next Tuesday morning and they're talking about, oh, the Nipah virus, it's attacking our cows and you got to wear 3 masks or whatever. Like, don't be surprised by it. I mean, they're going to do whatever they can to lock us down again so that, they can remain in power. When you have everybody having to mail in their ballots and do it remotely, that's the biggest way that you can defraud it. I mean, you're not really supposed to talk about that because, our system's not broken unless a Republican president won, and then like there's ways to cheat the system. But if you're Joe Biden, there's no possible way that it was cheated. So don't even bring it up. You're lying. It's misinformation. Just stop. So I hope that we can get to this point where we can start looking at facts and learn together. There's a lot of really good resources out there. I know I was watching a Russell Brand video the other day, and he had a fellow on there who was, he was pretty dry. He was just facts only, not really for entertainment, just more of like information. And he was going through the basically the paperwork that labs have to submit for whatever the research is. And there's a lot of really cool sources out there that are just information based, and then you can kind of develop your own idea about what's actually going on. Anyways, I would like to conclude this video by saying there are only 2 genders, and Donald Trump will be president in 2024. Thanks, and God bless.